Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. We are so thrilled today to have Bruce Blakeman on the podcast with us. He is the chief executive official of Nassau County, and importantly, he is running for governor of New York in 2026. And we have to figure out how to get him elected because, boy, do we need Bruce.
I mean, we really do.
Well, thank you.
I mean, New York has definitely seen better days, except for Nassau County.
Nassau County is doing great. We want to replicate that model, and we want to make people in the state happy again because right now they're miserable. We're overtaxed. We're overregulated. We've got a lunatic for mayor who believes in collectivism, and he is someone who is a virulent anti-Semite. So we've got to change the culture of New York State so people don't move out.
I know. That's the problem. I mean, I'm already looking in Miami. I don't want to. If you win, I'll stay. But you know, we got to make sure that you do.
Well, then don't worry about it because we're going to win, and you won't have to move.
Right. Bye-bye, Huckle. Better start packing. Hokel, whatever your name is. But actually, we were thinking about this. So first of all, you have your title is kind of a giant title. And we're going to be honest, I had no idea what that meant, what you do. So I had to look it up. You're basically the governor of Nassau.
Yeah. So Nassau County is home to almost 1.5 million people. We're larger than 8 to 10 states in population, depends on who's counting. And we are the safest county in America, according to U.S. News and World Report, even though we're on the border of New York City. I haven't raised taxes a penny in 4 years. We've hired 600 new cops and corrections officers. And Niche Magazine said we're the most desirable place to live in all of New York State. So we're doing very well. But the rest of the state, the city of New York and upstate New York, they're struggling and people are unhappy. And I want to be the governor that makes them happy again, and a governor that cares about them, creates prosperity, jobs, and makes it more affordable by giving people more opportunities so they can have more money in their pocket to spend money the way they want, not the way government tells them to spend money. Right.
I think you were quoted saying, you like to do hand ups, not hand downs.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I love that.
You know, the far left, they want to give people free fish. I want to teach people how to fish so they don't have to worry about government.
Amen.
Amen.
Did you grow up in Long Island?
Oh, wait, you can't say in Long Island. You know that?
On Long Island.
Yeah,
right?
Come on. You know, Jerry Seinfeld. It's the only place you live on.
That's right. That's right. And that's such a Long Island thing. But yeah, I grew up on the border of Queens and Valley Stream. And I now live with my wife, Sigal, who's a family court judge in Atlantic Beach. And, I lived for a while in Manhattan, as you know.
Yeah,
I raised my son in Manhattan. And I did my schooling out west. And I always gravitated back to Long Island. But I love the city of New York. The city is, the financial capital of the world. It's an exciting place. And I'm just so concerned that with the policies of Governor Hochul and Mayor Mondami, that they are going to drive businesses out of the city. They're going to drive people out of the city. They've already done it. We've lost $31 billion in wealth under Governor Hochul of people moving out and taking their businesses with them and taking jobs with them. And it's very, very disconcerting that the financial capital of the world is now run by a guy who talks about collectivism. Yeah, that's communism.
How do you think that happened that the, capitalism, capital of the country, New York City, elected a socialist mayor?
It's crazy.
Well, I think it's a few things. I think, first of all, that we didn't have strong alternatives. And Governor Cuomo, his campaign really didn't get into high gear until the last couple of weeks of the election. So Mondami had a lot of momentum. Eric Adams, he was embroiled in so many different controversies that it was difficult for him to campaign. And Curtis Lewa, he probably should have gotten out and given a better chance to Cuomo to be the mayor. Now, look, I have a lot of differences with Andrew Cuomo, but when the choice is between bad and worse, you take bad. And,
exactly.
And although
100%.
I don't agree with Andrew Cuomo on a lot of things, although personally I like him, the fact of the matter is that he was a better choice than Mondami for sure.
I mean,
Yes.
The thing about Cuomo is he actually isn't an anti-Semite. And I think, for us, we've seen, obviously there were Jews who voted for Mamdani, which is actually mind-boggling. I have no idea how that's even possible. So there's definitely that self-loathing Jew in Manhattan. How did you become so proud to be Jewish? And that was something that you're not a Bernie Sanders, obviously. Like growing up, you didn't grow up in one of the 5 towns. You grew up near where my dad grew up. And were there a lot of Jews in Valley Stream?
No.
So did you get like beat up a little bit?
So, listen, I experienced anti-Semitism. I was bullied a lot. I was a very, very thin, slight physique young man who was Jewish in a town that was a little on the rough side. But, the interesting thing is I would complain to my mother about being bullied. And finally, she got tired of it. So she said, get in the car. I thought we were going to go to the principal's office.
Did she teach you how to punch somebody?
She took me to the Police Boys Club boxing. She said, learn how to fight.
I love that.
I love her.
And the fact of the matter is that once I learned how to fight, I wasn't bullied anymore. And all of the bullies became my friends, and they're still my friends. So, there's 2 types of anti-Semitism. There's the more benign kind, which is basically ignorance. Just people don't know. They hear things,
right?
They believe things. And then there's outright hate. And the people who are ignorant, you can educate them. And a lot of times people, when they get to meet Jewish people and interact with them, they understand, who we are, and the relationships can be really, really great. But then there's the people who really hate. And these are people that were, the types of people that
like Mom Donnie.
They'll do, yeah. And, it shows. He says it with a smile, but it shows. He's so anti-Israel. And, where is Mandami talking about the human rights of the Iranian people now who are being shot in the streets of Tehran?
Yes.
Absolutely silent. Where was Mandami talking about the 125,000 Christians who've been killed in Africa in the last 4 years?
Yes.
It's like you don't even talk about the people who are oppressed in Venezuela. We could go through the whole map of the world, and there are places that don't have human rights, don't have an independent judiciary. And Israel has human rights. Arabs can vote in Israel. Right. They have an independent judiciary.
You can be gay in Israel. I mean,
you can be gay.
What do we do with all these Queers for Gaza people?
The largest population of any city in the world of gay and lesbian people, percentage-wise, is Tel Aviv.
That's unbelievable.
Only true democracy in the Middle East. Yeah. So let me ask you, when you win,
yes, I like that.
How will you work with a mayor who is a socialist and is a, anti-Zionist? Like a lot of people say to us, oh, don't worry, he really can't do anything. How do you feel about that?
Well, there's a lot of things he can do that are dangerous. Number one, he can destroy the economy of New York City, which is the financial capital of the world. And that would materially hurt everybody in the state. So we're talking about a tremendous amount of jobs, a tremendous amount of economic activity. So first of all, as governor, I would definitely stop him from doing that. And then he can have an administration that doesn't enforce the law and doesn't back the men and women in law enforcement. So if he were to do that, I as governor, if he doesn't enforce the law in New York City, I'm going to enforce the law in New York City. And I'll use every resource that I have to protect not only the people here in New York City, but to back the blue, to back the men and women who put their life on the line every day for us. So, look, if he behaves himself and it's just rhetoric, fine. I could probably find common ground with everybody. But the fact of the matter is, so far, with the people that he's appointed in his administration, with his rhetoric, I just think he's trouble for New York City. He's trouble for New York State.
Yes. Yeah, so he's really dangerous, actually. I mean,
if you open up the aperture, like we're living in this crazy polarized moment where what your politics are is so front and center to who you are. Like as a Jewish Republican, what's your pitch to Democrats and liberals? Because I feel like in New York City, there's so many people who just will vote Democrat.
That's an excellent question. So in my county, we have 110,000 more Democrats than Republicans. So if I only appealed to Republican and conservative voters, I would never win. But I won election the first time, in a close race against a popular Democrat incumbent female. And she was very well liked. I liked her. She was a very nice person. She was just on the wrong side of policy. So I ran a very issue-oriented campaign. I was able to win a close race. And in my 4 years, as I said, I haven't raised taxes a penny. We're the safest county in America. We have economic prosperity, job creation. And I started appealing to communities that Republicans typically didn't go into and weren't comfortable. But I was comfortable going there. So for instance, when I signed a comprehensive agreement with ICE, I went to the Hispanic and Latino communities and I said to the moms and dads there, I said, I'm doing this for you.
Yes.
Because it's your kids that are going to be recruited into gangs. It's your schools that are going to be overcrowded. It's your communities that are going to have homelessness.
Absolutely.
So I spoke to them, and lo and behold, when I ran for reelection this last year, I got 56% of Hispanic American and Latino voters. I went to Asian Americans. Asian Americans care about two things: education for their children and property rights. They care about other things, but those are the two main things. And we talked about those things with the Asian American community. And for the first time, a Republican has gotten a majority of Asian American votes. Then I went to the African American community, and they would say, we don't agree with Trump. We don't agree with Republicans on this. And I said to them, listen, let's not talk about what we disagree upon, because you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change your mind. I'm going to stay true to my values. I'm going to stay true to my principles. I'm not going to be a phony and say one thing to you and something else to somebody else. But let's find areas where we can agree, where I can make your life and your children's lives better. And you know what? In this last election, it was amazing. A Republican typically gets about 9% of the African-American vote. I got 32%.
Amazing.
If I get anywhere as close to 32% of the African-American vote in New York State, I'll win in a landslide. So it's about going into communities and not talking about what you disagree upon, but finding common ground and areas where me as the chief executive, I can help you and your family.
And I was going to say is, like, before you were, said that you were going to run, Elise Stefanik was sort of like the person we thought, okay, if she wins, we'll be okay. So, why do you think you had to kind of come in as that candidate and she stepped out? Like, what do you think you can offer New York more?
What happened was, after I won re-election in a landslide in a night that was very bad for Republicans all across America, I won by 36,000 votes in a county with 110,000 Democrats. Business leaders, particularly throughout the state, started calling me and saying, hey, look, you're the only guy that can beat Kathy Hochul. You're our last best hope. Will you consider running? And I said, look, let me travel around the state. Let me talk to people. Let me see if there's support. So what I did was I spent 2 or 3 weeks traveling around the state, talking to people, community leaders, business leaders, political leaders. And I found that there was a lot of support for my candidacy. And also, I think that basically people realized that in the last election, Lee Zeldin ran a great race, but being a pro-life candidate in New York State,
it's pretty hard to win.
All Kathy Hochul talked about was abortion, 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 abortion. And the fact that I'm a pro-choice Republican really takes that off the table. And we can talk about Kathy Hochul's record versus my record. And Kathy Hochul's going to want to talk about Trump, but she's not going to be able to label me as someone that would restrict a woman's right to get an abortion in the early stages of pregnancy, because I've consistently supported that. I think it's a woman's right in the early stages of pregnancy to make a decision what she wants to do, because it's her body. But at the same token, she's going to talk Trump, 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 Trump. I'm not going to let her do it. This isn't about Trump. This is about your record in the last 4 years, a record of failure, a record of making New Yorkers miserable. And I'm going to talk about my record in Nassau County, where we've made people happy. We've made people prosperous. We've made people safe.
What are the people in Long Island going to do if you win? They're going to be happy, but they're going to miss their governor of Nassau.
Well, they're going to have him as the governor of New York.
They're happy as the governor. Plus, we have some really great people. Don't worry, there'll be really great people that'll be in line. Listen, I'm not going to live forever anyway. So eventually, there's going to be a new county executive. But why not now with me as the new governor?
I love it.
Why aren't there more politicians like you? Because I have to say, like, as an average American, you look at Congress, you look what's happening in the House and the Senate, and there's so much gridlock. It's so hard to get anything done. And people aren't finding the commonalities. They're so stuck in like an ideological position. So how do we turn the temperature down? How do we get back to civility?
Well, first of all, I run issue-oriented campaigns. And by the way, I will hit back if I'm hit, but I'm never the first one to engage in, the kind of
You had
language.
police training, police boxing
Yeah,
training.
exactly. Good counterpuncher.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't want to make it about personalities, and I don't want to make it about name calling. I want to make it about a true discussion about issues and, what she hasn't done in the last 4 years and what I'll do in the next 4 years. And basically, again, I'm true to my values. I don't change my values. But I understand that there are people that are going to disagree with me on certain things. There's a lot of people who don't like President Trump, but they still voted for me, even though, they know I have a good relationship with President Trump. But they voted for me because I reached out to their communities and I materially made their lives better. And that's what a true leader should do. You should be the governor or the county executive or the mayor of all the people and not just the people who vote for you.
Agreed. And not to bring up name calling and things like that, but Mom Donnie is sort of a terrorist. I mean, I mean, he kind of is, right? Like he is supporting, radical Islam. Like I was in New York City on 9/11 and to see him have this whole fake, bullshit story about his aunt, quote, who couldn't wear a hijab on the subway, after 9/11 and blame it on Islamophobia, that makes me sick as a New Yorker. And I know like you lost your nephew, if I'm correct.
My nephew was killed in the line of duty. He was helping to evacuate Tower 2 when he was giving first aid to a woman who was severely burned and the tower fell on him. We never got any DNA. There was no body to bury. We just got his gun and his badge. And I am mortified by what I see going on here, how people have forgotten what happened on that day. And by the way, the Muslim religion is a religion that I believe is peaceful. It's a group of people who have radicalized it, and they're the ones who have really denigrated the religion by espousing terrorism and
anti-West rhetoric.
Yeah, and talking about things that are really antithetical to American values. And, with Mondami, he couldn't even say the other day the word Hamas. Every Democrat who said we don't support terrorism,
right? After that whole
Hamas,
protest, right?
He couldn't say I don't support Hamas, which means to me that he does support a terrorist organization that murders babies, that beheads children, that rapes women, and kills innocent people that aren't armed to defend themselves. So it's very troubling, and he does it with a smile, so people think he's a nice guy, but. We've seen in the past that dictators and totalitarians and people who have committed horrible acts, they do that with a smile. They think
yes,
they're doing the right
it's
thing.
It's like sociopathic.
It is.
Can I ask, given the recent spate of terrorist attacks, on our soil and the assassinations, how does your wife feel about you running for governor?
Good question.
So my wife is a family court judge. She loves being a family court judge because she really gets to help families every day. It's a very tough court to be a judge. My wife is a very strong, courageous woman, and we have a strong belief in God, both of us, and we believe in doing the right thing. And basically, she said, honey, I think this is your calling, and, go do what you got to do.
And she's Israeli, right?
Her family was Israeli.
Israeli, okay.
She was born in Brooklyn. She went to Yeshiva Flatbush, and she's a Brooklyn girl. And
no, we need this. I mean, we need real New Yorkers. First of all, I'm sorry, but like, you should have to be like either born in New York or be a very young child in New York. I mean, Mom Donnie's lived in New York like 10 years. I mean, it's insane. Like, how do you represent the people if you're not even the people?
But here's the good news. Mondami got elected. That's not good news, but 49% of New Yorkers voted against him. And I think that basically when I run for governor, a lot of those people are going to vote for me. The vast majority are going to say, we need a check on Mondami.
Yes.
Right.
We didn't want him as mayor, and they're going to vote for me. And, if I get 36% of the vote in New York City, I will win very handily. So
also when they, go to the bus and it's not free, but double what it used to be, maybe they'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have voted for the guy who's a liar.
What do I think we need more people like you to choose public service as a career, as a profession. What do you say to young people because we need more fresh blood, people who are willing to do the hard work to make this a better country.
But who have good values. That's the issue.
Yeah, you have to have the values. But the important thing is that my background is not only in the public sector, but it's in the private sector. So I've had to deal with people who had to make a payroll. I've been in business myself. I've created prosperity for my family through investment and ingenuity and hard work. And I think that that's the model. And I think it's great to be in public service, but I think you need to have a background in ordinary everyday life to be able to navigate the issues that come up as a chief executive. So in Mondami's case, he was a state assemblyman. Now he's the mayor. I mean, what have you ever done? What have you ever done beside that? He's proven that he can win races, and certainly that's an
SJP
achievement.
did a lot of student justice for Palestine stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So,
great job.
He's never had to make a payroll. He's never had to go out there and work hard. He's basically a child of privilege himself. And, he talks about the hardworking family. He knows nothing about work because he hasn't done work. He hasn't gone out there and worked hard and know what it's like to make a paycheck or to pay a payroll.
How also, when you're governor of New York, can you go into also like deal with the public school system? Because clearly there is a cancer somewhere where, they have teachers who are teaching these kids to hate Israel or to hate Jews or to be, I would say, just so woke.
The woke ideology.
Yeah, like how do we get
problematic?
Because the future of New York
we're
politicians,
a meritocracy. We should be about equal opportunity.
Right, but how are we going to have
outcomes.
future politicians in New York if they're being raised in this woke, crazy culture?
Well, think about what Governor Hochul and Mayor Mondami want to do. They want to take away the testing of our special schools that we have for gifted children.
That's insane.
That's something where you want people who have gifts to be able to be in an environment where they can feed off of each other and compete with each other because that makes them sharper. And, if you take one of these gifted people and keep them in a regular school, they're not going to be challenged. And that's what we want. I would never make it into any of those schools. I admit that. But
I'm not getting into Hunter either.
But we want to raise we want to raise the bar for everyone, not lower the bar.
Exactly. That's exactly. And, again, that gets back to, American values, which unfortunately Governor Hochul and Mayor Mondami, they don't have those values. And I don't know what values Governor Hochul has because she's all over the map. It's, whichever way the wind's blowing.
Right. I think it was Sid Rosenberg. You were saying she roots for her team. She changes what team she goes for.
Well, it's such an embarrassment that she endorsed Mamdani and then he didn't even endorse her back.
Well, I think she stabbed a lot of people in the back by doing that.
Yes.
By endorsing him?
Yeah. And she didn't have to endorse him. And now she's become Comrade Kathy. They're like, they're
Call
like,
me Kathy.
They're joined at the hip. I mean, she was applauding for socialism at Mondami's inaugural. She endorsed him. And in the State of the State speech last week, she mentioned him glowingly 3 times. So now they're completely joined at the hip.
But I worry that is a signal of my greatest fear, that the Democratic Party is becoming so far left, so socialist, that the power is in AOC and Mamdani.
Oh my God, don't even say that.
And that's why it's hard to understand how we're going to move forward when we don't have 2 parties that are both pro-American.
Well, the differences between the Democrat and Republican Party when I was growing up were very narrow. Basically, if you were a Republican when I was growing up, you were pro-business. You tended to be more pro-business. If you were a Democrat, you tended to be more pro-labor. If you were a Republican, you were for less government. If you were a Democrat, you were for more government. But when it came to public safety, when it came to
Israel,
law enforcement, when it came to the state, supporting the state of Israel, when it came to even the Department of Defense and defending this country and standing up for American principles, Republicans and Democrats were on the same team. They were Americans. And now we have a party, the Democratic Party is now a party of radical leftists who don't like America.
I know. So go home. Like, I don't understand like this Olan Omar stuff. Like, I find it fascinating. Like, go home. You don't like it here. You're doing all this corrupt stuff. Like, why are people celebrating like her? Or why is Tim Walz, like, what is going on with these people?
Well, they want to destroy America. They want
Are
to
they
destroy the fabric of
paid
America.
by like Qatar? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, listen, you know what? I tell people all the time, like when I engage people and talk to people that come from other countries, and look, we're a nation of immigrants. I'm very pro-immigration as long as it's done the right way. But I say to people who want to change America, why'd you come here if you want to change it? You know,
You come here because you want to be here. You want to be American.
Immigrants that came here, you know, like in our parents' era,
Yeah.
and they kissed the ground when they got to America. They were willing to work hard. And look at our migrant program now. We're giving free stuff to people who've been here for 15 minutes. They're here illegally. They haven't earned a thing, and they're getting what immigrants never got. They're getting free housing, free transportation, free food, free cell phone.
Doesn't motivate you to.
And it's all at taxpayer expense. Kathy Hochul has spent over $5 billion of your taxpayer dollars on people who just got here and they haven't earned a thing. I want to put New Yorkers first. Create jobs here, create prosperity, invest in our infrastructure, invest in our schools, invest in our hospitals, cut taxes so people have more money so they can live here. And it's just the opposite of what should be done. And it's really a shame. And if you add up what's been spent on illegal migrants in New York City and New York State, it's well over $12 billion. And that's money that's just been given away to people who have arrived here, you know, yesterday and gotten all free stuff. It's crazy.
But also, in addition to being just a New Yorker, like I was actually reading a journal entry that my grandmother had written, and my cousin had used it for a report. And it was like she got to school. Her parents were born in Hungary, but she was born here, and she would say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. And like you could see in this what she wrote, there was a pride that she was so grateful. Obviously, her parents had such hell in Hungary that to be here, but like they don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore in these schools. Like forget being a New Yorker. Like we have to establish also that we are all American and be proud. Like, can you bring that back when you're governor?
You know,
I'm serious.
Smart people have talked about diversity as being this great thing. The word shouldn't be diversity. It should be unity.
100%.
Accepting everybody, but with a common purpose to make America great, to make a better life for families here in New York State. And they use diversity as some kind of great thing that could happen. I don't want to peg people as being African American or Hispanic and Latino or Asian Americans. I want people to think of themselves as Americans and New Yorkers, and we're in this together, and we all want the same thing for our families.
Well, that was after 9/11, that feeling. And I remember that feeling of like, we were American, obviously, and so proud, but we were so proud to be New Yorkers. It did not matter what you looked like, who you were a New Yorker on that day. And going forward until I don't know when the world kind of turned, but it's so insane. Like even Eva and I were going to apply for the New York Podcast Awards. Okay. Literally have to send this to you. And we had to pick our categories. We picked our category, and then it was like, okay, who are you? Are you actually being a Caucasian male was not, you couldn't even be a Caucasian male to enter, which is we were female, trans, LGBTQ plus, are you Latino, East Asian, Black, or Palestinian? Those were the options.
Those were the options.
How is that even like? First of all, why is that even a thing?
Why is it new? Like,
well,
it
first of all, there's a whole issue about Palestinian. First of all, there were no Palestinian people. They're either Jordanians or they're Egyptians.
Thank you.
Okay, Palestine is a Roman word.
I know, it's Italian.
It's not.
Ciao.
It's not an Arabic word. It's not a word that was heard in Islam. It is Roman. And how can they have a country that's never been a country? They never had defined borders. They never had a currency. They don't have a language. So there's no Palestinian people. There's no Palestine. These are people that the Jordanians didn't want and the Egyptians didn't want.
Yes.
I know, but that's a category. It's just like now it's like New York City has become the oppressed Olympics. Who has been oppressed more? And it used to be a city of, we're not here because the lifestyle is amazing. Like we can go to the beach every day. We're here because we like the energy. We want to contribute to society. We want to work hard, and we want to be part of something. And somehow now it's just changed.
Work is something that's a virtue. And apparently Mondami and Hochul don't think work is a virtue. If you look in the Old Testament or the New Testament, they talk about work as being a virtue. And working is a virtue because when you work, you feel better about yourself. It gives you self-confidence and you can support yourself. You don't have to depend on government to tell you how much money you can have and where you can live. And by the way, getting back to education, first day in office, fire the chancellor, replace the Board of Regents, and put in people who have only one mission: to make our kids excellent.
Yes,
100%.
Amen. Well, you 1,000% have mine and Caroline's vote. Before we end, we want to do a quick lightning round, and then we want to make sure that we know what we and everyone listening can do to get you elected. One word to describe Mom Donnie.
Oh my God!
It could be
so
the
many
T word.
words. So many words come.
Okay, you can have a couple of words.
He's somebody that is a product of privilege, tries to pretend that he's a regular person, has policies that are anti-American, they are anti-capitalism, they are communist, and on top of that, he has a virulent disdain for the Jewish people and is obsessed with Israel and the Jewish people in a very negative way. I'm sorry I couldn't do that in one word.
I would just, if you really wanted the word, it's terrorist, but that's okay.
Who do you admire most in politics?
So listen, I would say that I'm probably a mixture of Trump and Reagan.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh,
Both great presidents.
And I'll add a third because he's from Nassau County, Teddy Roosevelt.
Nice. What's your favorite TV show that is set in New York City or New York State?
I would have to say Friends.
Good answer.
Oh my gosh. Caroline is obsessed with Friends.
Okay.
Of course.
Favorite place to vacation in New York State?
Nassau County. We have the best beaches in the world. So listen, I've been in the Hamptons. I've been upstate. We have beautiful places.
Nothing better than
upstate.
being on Long Island.
Hey, have you ever been to Skinny Atlas?
No.
Got to go sometime. Gorgeous. The Finger Lakes.
We'll go anywhere with the word skinny in it.
Yeah, there's some very, very beautiful places throughout New York State. Lake George, Lake Placid.
What's your favorite word that only someone Long Island would say? Like how they would say it.
Effing idiot.
I like that.
What's your favorite piece of advice that either you give or have received about leadership?
Be true to yourself, be true to your values, and remember, it's not about you, it's about service.
Should we buy Greenland?
Yeah.
I think so too.
If you get the right price, I'm down for that.
Me too. I think so.
I don't want to visit there, but
I agree. It's icy.
down for
Always
it.
Can we change the name?
Yeah,
Like
well-
it should be Iceland.
Well, clearly Gulf of America, we're going to change the name.
it might be Trumpland.
Well, thank you so much, Bruce. We're going to put in our
Thanks,
show
guys.
notes everywhere that people can go to support you. But is there anything you want to share about what we can do to get out the vote?
Just go to Blakeman for New York. And look, we're on a mission to save the state, to make this state a better place for families. I'm not in this race for myself or even people in my age group. This is about our children, our grandchildren, and what kind of state we want for them. Do we want a state where they want to raise their children? Or do we want them to move out to Texas or Florida or North Carolina or South Carolina? I want my kids and my grandkids to stay here. So I want to make a better state. So that's why I'm running.
I love that.
I love
Ador
that.
Vador, which in Hebrew means generation to generation.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for being
Thanks.
on here.
A lot of
We
fun.
loved it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mic drop.